Okay, we're going to bring it to order now. So I want to thank members of council who are joining us today. We've got from the executive committee, we've got Councillor Nixon, Deputy Mayor, and myself, and Councillor Harvey. I know that we have one councillor who's running a little bit behind, and will be here shortly. And we have Councillor Morales as well. We also have joining us Councillors Corser and Rietma who are joining us this evening as well. So just want to make sure that I capture everybody who's here for our initial executive committee meeting. Before we get into the full agenda and go through the consent items, I think I want to set a little bit of direction, if you will, and go through what it is that I'm looking for a mandate. Councillor Negussi just joined us as well, for a mandate and objectives. And I think we all know there's been a lot that we've processed as a council over the last 2 and a bit years. There is quite a lot in terms of the projects that are coming forward. We have a university, we have the movement of the cadets across the waterfront. We have the potential for a sports field still, the recreation center that's coming to South Barrie, and the Performing Arts Center. And along with all of these items, you know, there's the budgeting and the timelines for them. And I think it's really important that if we consider these things to be strategic initiatives, strategic projects for the City of Barrie, that we stay on top of them, and that we continually get updates on them, that we can communicate to the public, but also we as a council know that they are being implemented within the scope of what our expectations are. And alongside that, the items for discussion will be dealt with in the executive committee. And the final piece that I think is important, the finance committee is doing the finances of the city. One thing I would like to have at the executive committee is either quarterlies or something like that that's showing us that we are hitting the budgets for these projects that we have outlined. And so I'll just I'll read through some of this. Does everyone have this, Madam Clerk, or just myself?
It was circulated this afternoon.
Circulated this afternoon. Okay, so I'm going to read through this. The procedure bylaw 2019-100 as amended be further amended to add the executive committee as a reference committee with the following mandate objectives. So the mandate, the executive committee's primary focus is to provide strategic oversight of city matters, focusing on the implementation and monitoring of strategic initiatives as well as international intergovernmental relations. And the objectives, obviously we just talked about before, items for discussion, our strategic plan and priorities, the governance policy and structure, financial planning and budgeting, so quarterly updates, and that would be really focused on the 5 projects below, and others if there are other things that people think that we should be adding to that list. Those were the ones that stuck out to me and stuck out to our team, but if there are other items that we think are you know, as important or on that level, then we should identify them so that we can get those updates as well. Councillor Morales.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. Would a small amendment to that verbiage that just says and any strategic project updates as motioned by council. So let's say something comes up in 8 months, and it's not my opinion, it's not your opinion, it is a motion of council that then the council says, essentially revising these terms without having to make a big thing, having that kind of catch-all. Would that be worth it, in your opinion?
Yeah, I'm completely fine with that. Madam Clerk, is there anything needed on that to?
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, it can be considered, I guess, a friendly at this point, but which I'm just trying to ask through you to Councilor Morales, which paragraph are you amending? Are you amending paragraph 1, or are you amending under objectives 1B?
I think it's 1E you were talking about.
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to both of you, correct. It would be another bullet point on 1E.
1E, okay, thank you.
Okay, the other piece that I think is really important that has served us incredibly well to date is the work that we've done on intergovernmental relations. We're talking about 100+ million, Rebecca, is that right? Just over 100 million that we've received in 2 years from the provincial government. And if you actually look at it, it's actually 100 million in 1 year. Because we hadn't received a whole bunch in that initial first year of our mandate. That's the Harvey Road, Huronia money we just received. That's the Yonge Street to Prince William Way on Mapleview Drive East money we received. That's the federal housing money, the provincial housing money, and there was a couple of other smaller things I think that we also received that fall into that bucket. But it's becoming more and more of an opportunity for us, I think, and it's becoming more of a challenge in how do we continue that momentum as a city, because it certainly helps. And so if you think about the effect of provincial funding on the city's finances, it's actually not just us who gets benefit from it, where there are projects that would be DC funded if the province is stepping in. At some point when we redo that DC background study, there's going to be an over contribution for that project from the development community. So it actually goes into lowering the cost of housing overall as well. And so I think that there's a lot of work that we need to do on that front. Rebecca has recently added somebody to her team to bring some full-time to that. It was side of desk for Ms. James Reed over the last number of years. We invested, I think, $90,000 at the end of our first year, and we've turned that into over 100 million. So, making that more of a long-term commitment and a long-term priority is something that I think will pay huge dividends, and I would like to come back to this executive committee. The final piece is international relations. We know that things are difficult right now, and we know that we've put in some time and effort over the past couple of years trying to work on bringing even more German manufacturing businesses to town, stretching out across the Great Lakes to have a sister city in the US, and really trying to find some opportunities. I think those become more and more important as time goes on with what we're seeing in terms of isolationism in the US and around the world. So that's the total mandate and the rationale behind the mandate. Are there any questions or comments before we keep going? Yes, Councillor Rietma.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one question. The executive committee is going, like the minutes of the executive committee, are they going to go to a general committee? Is that the idea, or how does that flow work?
Madam Clerk.
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Rietma. Currently, they will be going to general committee.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, so we'll get right into the meeting. So I should go back to, I missed this, I apologize. The meeting is being held in person and electronically in accordance with the Municipal Act. The consent items, there is one item for discussion on the table, and that is Walkway Winter Maintenance Pilot 2026 project. It reads that the Walkway Winter Maintenance Pilot locations outlined on page 21 of the Walkway Winter Maintenance presentation of the active transportation, like a lot of big words here, active transportation and sustainability committee meeting on December 7th, 2023 be considered. as part of, instead of in, as part of the 2026 city budget, and that was sponsored by Councilor Morales. Is there any hold? It hasn't been held, so I'm going to consider that approved on consent. We will now go to the other business, which is meeting schedule, and I have already jumped ahead to terms of reference. For the meeting schedule, is everyone comfortable with once a month? Does that fit? Okay, if we need to meet less or need to meet more, we can take it as it goes. And I'll leave it, I think we've discussed everything we had on our agenda for today. Oh, one thing. We have to vote on the terms of reference, okay. Can I have somebody move the terms of reference? I see Deputy Mayor, I see Councillor Nixon. So Councillor Nixon has moved the terms of reference with the amendment that says any other business deemed by council. Any questions or comments on those? Seeing none, all in favor? And it carries. That is, I believe, everything, and we're going to adjourn until our next meeting begins. Thanks, everyone.